તો આ પાવર પોઈન્ટની સ્લાઇડ અત્યારે શો થાય છે ને? હેલો.
નહીં સર, જીમેલ શો અપ થાય છે અત્યારે.
હવે સ્લાઇડ દેખાય છે? હેલો.
હા સર.
હવે સ્લાઇડ જોઈ શકો છો?
ના સર, નથી. પ્રેઝન્ટેશન હજી નથી દેખાતું.
હા. હેલો.
નહીં સર, હજુ સુધી પ્રેઝન્ટેશન દેખાતું નથી સ્ક્રીન ઉપર.
એની અંદર મારે વચ્ચે જે ટેબ છે પ્રેઝન્ટ નાઉ, એ ટેબનો યુઝ કરવાનો છે ને?
હા, વચ્ચે એક સ્ક્વેર બોક્સ હશે અને એની અંદર તીર હશે ઉપરની તરફનું.
હા
એનાથી પ્રેઝન્ટેશન થશે.
હા, એની ઉપર પછી 3 ઓપ્શન છે. એ યોર એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન, એ વિન્ડો એન્ડ એ ટેબ.
એમાં એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન કરી નાખો સર.
એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન, ઓકે. પછી પૂછે છે મને કે ક્રોમ વોન્ટ્સ શેર યોર એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન, ક્રોમ વોન્ટ્સ ટુ શેર ધ કન્ટેન્ટ્સ ઓફ યોર સ્ક્રીન વિથ મીટ ગૂગલ.
એમાં શેર યોર એન્ટાયર સ્ક્રીન કરી નાખો સર.
ઓકે.
ઓકે, થેન્ક યુ.
હા, હવે
ઓકે સર, વિઝિબલ.
okay. Okay, now let us we start.
ઓકે સર.
Okay, how much students joined now?
Total કેટલા છે? 10.
Sure.
Total
Sure.
12, 17 are student, and the remaining are our faculties and other members.
Okay, okay. So can you
And
Nirav,
our yes,
Nirav, introduce the faculties who
yes.
joined the presentation.
Hey, I introduce your about your profile, and then you start your presentation. Just a
Right.
minute.
Okay.
Good afternoon, all. All are hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Today, yes. Today we have a expert lecturer who has a vast experience in a quality assurance field. Mr. Kirit Joshi. He has 11 year of experience in Adani Power and Adani Green's renewable energy in the field of quality assurance of thermal and renewable projects, as well as he has experience of 25 years with JETCO about operation, maintenance, construction, testing, and commissioning of transmission lines and substations. So we have a good faculty and has a vast experience to our relevant field. So, Mr. Joshi sir, now you can continue about your topic regarding solar PV cell and module manufacturing and certifications relevant to solar cell and modules.
Okay.
Now, continue, sir. You can.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. I thanks for your faculty team and Mr. Nirav for inviting me to have some knowledge sharing with all of you. Today's our topic is solar PV cell and module manufacturing and certification. Uh, we all know about the solar module because presently it is a trend of installing maximum renewable power plants and installations, and solar is the major part of renewable energy. So to understand the module, its performance and its quality, we need to understand first how the solar module is being manufactured. Uh, Solar module is having a major main component is solar cell, which converts solar energy into the electrical energy. So, how the solar cell is manufactured and what type of solar cells at present are being used for solar module. So, we will start with the manufacturing process of solar PV cell. Solar PV cell is a silicon cell uh, manufactured from silicon, and the raw material of silicon is sand. We can say the sand, but quality of sand, it should be a quartz sand. And from the quartz sand, after some process of purification as well as heating at very high temperature, the polysilicon is being formed. And the raw polysilicon, again having some impurities, measure of carbon is a part of the impurities. So further purification process is to be done with higher temperature, and out of that pure silicon, the ingots are to be formed. So ingots is a rod which can be cut to the size so that the solar wafer can be manufactured. So these ingots are cuts with wire technology or a diamond cutting technology, and make the size of the wafer with the thickness of around 100 microns. It is very thin wafers, and the size of the wafer means length and width is also decided based on the requirement as well as the maximum size of the wafers can be cut out from the ingots. Uh, so then once the wafer is formed, then it is wafers are processed to manufacture the cell. And after manufacturing the cell, the assembly of the number of cells with interconnections and protection to the cell from the environment, the solar module is formed. So we will see further that how the solar module manufactured, first solar cell and then solar module. So in this slide, we can see the module is an assembly of number of cells. Presently, it is a 72 cell module is available in the market, Indian market. But now further the 144 cell modules are also available. That is, it is called a half cut cell. So these cells are arranged such that the number of strings are being formed with the interconnections between the cells, and these strings are again connected to make the series. And in a 72 cell module, all 72 cell are arranged to make a series of cell of the 72 cell. And end of this series will take out from the module with one positive and negative. So this is the basic design of the module. And the arrays are formed at the site, means at the project site or at the rooftop, to make the required powered output. So different arrays are made. So the arrays are made with the number of modules connected in either parallel or in series to match the DC power DC output requirement, which is input to the inverter. So the voltage, DC voltage and DC current is is output of the array, which should be matched with the input of the inverter. So accordingly, array are designed. First, let us understand the construction of the cell. So in a cell, cell is nothing but it is a PN junction form of the silicon. So in PN junction, the one is the base, that is positive, and the emitter is called negative, and in between it is a PN junction. So when light, sunlight inside incident or impact on the solar cell, the photon of the sunlight release the electrons, free electrons of the silicon, which form the current. The flow of the electron, we call it as a current. So this current, produced current, is a energy which we tap to the for our requirement or external load. Here we are talking about two type of cell, mono and poly, or all multi. So in poly, it is a means older formation of the cell. Earlier, the poly cells were used for manufacturing the module. So in poly, the silicon's molecules are placed or arranged in such a manner that the molecules are not unidirectional laid, but it is a random directions. The silicon molecules are laid. So the electron flows are not smooth flow, but it interact with each other. So the efficiency is comparatively low, because free electrons separated from the silicon is not easily flowing and facing some resistance internally. While mono cells are the cell that their silicon molecules are laid in a unidirection. So all molecules are laid as unidirectional. So free electron moves smoothly from one direction to other direction. So the flow is smooth. That is why the efficiency of the mono is higher than the poly. So now poly is going to be obsoleting now, and mono is using now used in a large scale. So this is the cell structure. In the center, it is a P silicon base, and above that, there is a PN junction, and above the PN junction, that is the N-type emitter. Above that, there is a ARC. ARC means anti-reflective coating. And on top of the cell, it is a contact. Take out electricity from the cell to connect with the other cell. So on the top of the cell, there is a contact. And ARC means anti-reflective coating is applied so that whatever light enter in the cell, the majority light should be absorbed in the cell so that maximum energy can be trapped. If the light reflect outside, then it is a loss. So to restrict the reflection, the anti-reflective coating is applied. And in bottom, there is one aluminum BSF coating also applied to make the backside uniform and to get contact from the backside, that is a P contact. So on any cell, top of the cell is a N contact and bottom is a P contact. To make this cell, there is a manufacturing process. So from the once the slice of the silicon is formed, then the further processing of saw damage removal means whatever damages happen due to the showing while cutting the slices, that is first it is to be removed. Then texturing and cleaning. Then again, the both side of this silicon wafer is to be smoothened out to make the texture and clean the surface. Then further the diffusion. Diffusion is diffusion with the P-type base to the N-type emitter. It is a diffusion process. Then PSG removal again is a removal process of the impurities and any age defects that is to be removed. Then ARC apply process. So means ARC coating is being applied after formation of the PNG junction. PN junction. Then screen printing. Screen is a silver screen to make the top side contact. So this screen is placed on the top of the emitter and make the contact of entire cell area so that all electrons separated in all total area of the cell are being collected by this screen. So electron first flow towards the screen. So entire area is covered by this screen so that all electrons can move in a common connection. After forming this screen, then one firing process that is one process to make it solid contact with the cell and the screen. And then the isolation means top on a top of the cell, the isolation layer is applied, ARC as well as the isolation layer, and contacts are taken out on the top of the cell as well as at bottom of the cell, so that we can connect the cell with the other cell. So you can see the horizontal line on the screen. That horizontal line, we call it as a bus, electrical bus, where the all current getting collected there and flow to the outside of the cell. So when we contact with the other cell. A solar PV module consists of number of interconnected solar cell encapsulated into a single long-lasting stable unit. Means the solar module is a single unit comprising the number of cells interconnected with each others and forming the series or parallel connection inside and taking out the terminal, positive and negative terminal to take power out from the module. This entire unit is necessary for the mechanical protection of the complete assembly. When cell is interconnected, it's required the mechanical protection so that no any damage can happen. And any disconnections, electrical disconnection or damage of the cells can happen. Then electrical isolation also. Because the cells and interconnections are the live part, it is required to isolate this live part from the other body parts. Means you can say as a isolation from the frame, because frame is an aluminum solid frame, and the entire cell assembly is required to be isolated from the frame. Then chemical protection also. Chemical protection means any chemical from atmosphere, environment, or any chemical contact. The module should be capable to protect the cell assembly from the outside chemical. And also it's required the mechanical rigidity so that the cell cannot be cracked because the cells are very thin, and it is necessary to protect from external impact or jerks so that no any damage to the cell happen. Now we see here that the all component used for module assembly. First we see the frame. The frame is made from aluminum, and the frame provides the structural rigidity to the panel, protecting it from the outdoor elements and enable easy installation. So frame is must. In earlier frameless module were also available, but the field experience is such that the modules get damaged during transportation or during installation. So the frameless modules are now obsolete, and frame is based on the experience. The frame is must to protect the module. And glass protect the top side of the panel while allowing an optional amount of sunlight, optimal amount of the sunlight reach to the cell. Means here glass is used to protect the cell and also provide the mechanical stability also to the cell assembly. And the glass is also such that it should pass the entire light, sunlight to the cell. So the transparency of the glass should be highest so that no light losses occurred during transmission of light from outside to the cell. EVA. EVA is a ethylene vinyl acetate material. It is one type of glue, but initially it comes in a very thin sheet. So the function of this EVA is to provide adhesion to the cell between cell and glass, as well as between cell and backsheet. So this EVA layer is applied between glass and cell, and between cells and backsheet. Then the entire cell assembly is the engine of the panel. The solar cell are where sunlight is converted to electricity. The main generating function is being performed by this cell assembly. And the backsheet. Again, backsheet is put behind the cell to protect the cell from backside, as well as providing support to the cell from backside and protect cell from environment also. Then after the complete assembly, the from the backside of the module, there are two terminal coming out from the module, one positive and one negative. So these two contact need to be connected in a such that so that we can make a connection with the other outside connectors or other modules in such a manner so that the module can be easily connected and disconnected. To make this arrangement, one junction box is fixed one backside of the module, which connect the internal terminal inside the junction box, and there are bypass diodes are also inside the junction box, which make the electrical connections and take out the cables with positive and negative terminal. So for this entire assembly, it is necessary to have the good quality of material. So material should be such that it's fulfill its requirement and quality, so that the module can perform with highest efficiency and the longest life cycle. Presently, the expected life cycle of the module is 25 years. So for this each component, the basic characteristic requirements here we are discussing. So the aluminum frame should be a deep and anodized. Aluminum should be anodized so that no any rusting or corrosion happen, because the module has to perform his whole life of 25 years in open atmosphere. So all components outside as well as inside should be protected such that the environmental effects can be minimized. Solar cell employed are of excellent low light and optimal thermal coefficient performance. So solar cell, first we rate the solar cell with their efficiency. So the efficiency of the solar cell is already means decided during manufacturing what type of cell we are manufacturing, whether it is a poly silicon or monosilicon. So the efficiency already predefined, so that efficiency module cell should be manufactured, and the performance of the cell should be such that in low light its relative efficiency should not be less than 95%. Means when the light is suppose in a morning hours or in a evening hours, light is 20% of the maximum light in the noon. So that at the 20% radiation, the efficiency should not be reduced to less than 95%. Similarly, in evening hours, the same performance should the module should perform the same performance. Second thing, the thermal coefficient. So the temperature effect is also impact on the module performance. When temperature increases, the module efficiency decreases. So this reduction of the power generation is determined by the thermal coefficient. So rise in every 1 degree, the the loss of generation should not be less than what the thermal coefficient measured. So with the low thermal coefficient, the module perform better in the even higher temperature. Then connecting ribbons. So when we form the solar cell string, we interconnect the cells electrically. So to make this interconnection, we use the copper ribbons. So one cell bus is connected with the other cell with these ribbons. So this ribbon should be of a higher quality with low low resistance, so that power losses can be minimized. And with high cross section means the low resistance. Then backsheet is also a special material made from PVF and PVD or PVDF. This is a type of material. Polyvinyl fluorine and polyvinyl. Exactly, I don't remember this full name, but this is a backsheet is coated with some protective layer to protect the entire module from backside, so that no environmental impact happen to the module assembly. And junction box, fully potted IP68 junction box with Schottky bypass diodes having excellent thermal stability and low forward voltage drop. So this box contains the bypass diodes. We will discuss the bypass diode function later. The connection made inside the junction board is very much important because it is being made with the soldering. So here any poor soldering can happen the failure of the module or heating of the module. Then glass should be a high transmission, low ion, tempered and PV glass. So the transmission of the light should be highest in the glasses used for PV module. Similarly, ion content should be low and it should be a tempered glass. EVA sheet, which is used as a adhesion between the cell and glass and cell and backsheet. So to make the assembly solid, so in future with any environmental heating or any moisture effect, the adhesion should not be effective. This is the diagram showing the manufacturing stages of the PV module manufacturing. So in very initial stage, the cells are cell is the main input material, and it is tested for IV. So each cell when entered in the machine, first tested by applying the light on the cell to check its IV characteristic and any visual defects or cracks of this cell. Also the cell should be of the same efficiency for entire module. Different efficiency cells we cannot use in a same single module. So because if whatever low efficiency cell, the current of the particular cell will be low, and the all cells are connected in series. So finally, the output current will be driven by this low current. So the overall current of the module will be reduced by this low efficiency cell. Hence, the entire module efficiency will reduce. So it is important to use the cells with the same efficiency in the particular module. In the next stage, cells are being interconnected. So first operation is tabbing. Tabbing means making the connection of the cell with the ribbon. There is a bus connections on the cell, on the top of the cell. Similarly, bottom side also contacts are there. So these ribbon are soldered with this top and bottom connection. So one cell is connected on the top, which is the negative side of the cell, and the same ribbon is extended to make the connection with the bottom side of the cell, another cell, so that the two cells connects in the series with the P2 N connection. We cannot connect all P in all P of the all cells in a with the same bus. We have to connect, because we have to make the series connection. We have to connect P of one cell to N of the another cells. And similarly, we make the connection with the number of cells and forming the string. We call it when 12 cells are connected in series with the positive negative connections, it forms a string of 12 cells. And these 12 cells, then now string of these 12 cells are laid in parallel, and six number of the strings are interconnected with the end connectors to make the series formation of entire 72 cells. So there are the bus connector to make the string, and there are the end connector to make the series connection. And finally, the positive and negative taking outside for the external connection. So after this string formation and cell assembly, the cell assembly is to be put on the glass and EVA. Then again EVA layer is placed on the glass and the backsheet. So during manufacturing, glass placed on the bottom side, and on the glass there is a EVA sheet, and then on EVA there is a cell assembly, then again EVA, and then backsheet. This assembly is then moved further to the next process. And here one mistake is there. The curing process is not at this stage, but it is after framing. So this complete assembly of the glass, EVA, cells and backsheet is passed through the laminator. So why lamination is required? Because EVA, before laminations, EVA is a solid sheet, and we required it to make it as an adhesive material. So this assembly passed through the laminator, where the high temperature is applied with the vacuum, so that this EVA get melted and form in the it gets liquid form. At this liquid adhesion, stick both sides, one between a glass and cell, and second between cell and backsheet, and make it a solid unit which can not be separated by one with a high temperature or high light or any high environmental condition. After this lamination process, the assembly passes for the framing. So the aluminum frames are having slots, and their specified dimension. They are cuts in the specific length to make the framing all four sides of the glass cell assembly. So when this glass cell assembly arrived for framing, before that all aluminum frames are frames having slots. So inside slot, one glue is poured, so that the glue can stick the glass assembly with the frame. This glue is of the silicon material. First these frames are filled with this glue, and then when this glass assembly arrived, it fixed all the four sides with fixing inside the slots. So this glass assembly is now completely fixed with the frame with the adhesive glue. And after that, the curing is required because this silicone glues needs the curing. So 4 hours curing needs to be applied. So the module is to be kept in the curing room for 4 hours. Then after it comes for the next operation of junction box fixing. So junction box is a ready-made assembly to be connected with the terminal taking out from the back side of the module, one positive and one negative. So this junction box fixed with that make the contact with this terminals with the soldering, and the cables then come out from this junction box. So after this assembly, the manufacturing is process is completed, and the final inspection and testing is to be performed to check whether the entire assembly is okay as per the requirement, and the power output of the module is checked. Also, the mechanical condition and visual condition also is to be checked at the end of the manufacturing process. We will see the further detail testing of the module in the further slides. So here some of pictures showing the manufacturing process. So first picture show the glass loading. Here the glass first is to be placed on the machine, and this glass moved inside the machine for the further process. In second picture, the EVA sheet is placed on the glass, and, this glass and EVA move further for the cell lay. In another input side of the manufacturing process, this glass cells, these PV cells are placed as an input material to the process, and the machines take one by one the cell and with the soldering connection with the ribbon to make the string and further assembly of the module. So here in side pictures, you can see the soldering connection of the two cells. So top of the cell is taken to connect with the bottom of the another cell. After this tabbing and soldering process, you can see the string is formed, shown in the bottom of the slide. So then next operation is to lay these strings on the glass EVAs arrived at this at this stage. So when glass and EVA comes here, either manually or automatically, these form strings are placed on the glass to make the end connection of the all strings. So this person is making the end connection by soldering the end of the all string and make it is a series connection for 72 cells. You can see the in right top picture, the entire layer, all layers are shown. So during the manufacturing, glass is at the bottom. Above that, it is a EVA, Above that is a cell assembly, then further again EVA, and then backsheet. So this assembly moves up to the end of the manufacturing process. Only after framing and box fixing, junction box fixing, the module assembly position gets inverted. So this is the laminator. So from one side, the glass cell assembly entered in the laminator, and after heating and vacuum process, the glass cell assembly came out at the other end with complete solid formation. After that, you cannot remove the backsheet or glass or cell. You have to break it only. Otherwise, it cannot be separated. So here, this is the picture showing gluing. So in the slot of the frame, where the glass assembly fixed, the glue is applied, and this glue make the joint between frame and glass assembly. This is the frame pressing machine. Means the automatic machine place all four side frame at a time and press it to make the fixing with all four sides. This is the junction box fixing. Again, the glue is used to make the fixing of junction box on the back sheet, on the back side of the module. After making in electrical connection inside the junction box. And in the right side picture, you saw the final cable termination coming out from the junction box. So this is the layout diagram of the 72 cell PV module, which are interconnected in series and at the both end, positive and negative terminal coming out. So here you can see the three bypass diodes are placed. So what is the function of this diode here? So as the name mentioned, it is used for bypass function. So why it is bypassing of the string is required? So suppose during the field operation, some of the strings are coming under shadows. Suppose, for example, bottom string faces the shadow, and all other 5 strings are facing the sunlight. Then what happen? The bottom string will not generate the power, and all entire 5 string will generate the power. So as the connections are made in series, the total power will be restricted by this bottom string. To avoid this, in this condition, it is required to be bypass the bottom 2 string from the remaining 4 string. So this bypass diode, when in a normal condition, will work as a open circuit switch. It is as like a switch. So in normal condition, it is an open circuit. Its position is open. But when this one string will not generating, in that time, the voltage difference across the diode will increase. In that condition, this diode will operate, and it will work as a on position of the switch. So when it will get on, automatically the 2 string will be bypassed. So in that case, 2 string will be isolated from remaining 4 string. to save the string from the any further damage, or to get maximum generation from the balanced force string. So whenever any module faces the shadow, there will not be any damages to the cell, because if any cell string or particular cell faces the shadow, it will create the resistance, and this resistance will restrict the current will pass through this resistance, and when the resistance is higher, this particular cell will get heating, and due to the heating, the cell temperature will increase, and ultimately the cell will fail. So this bypass diode is protecting the cells or string of the cells from the hotspot or from the failure due to the high temperature. This is the insulation or high voltage testing. This test is also performed at the end of the manufacturing process. Each module is to be tested with applying the high voltage between the terminals and frame. So to check the insulation level of the module, because the cell assembly is a live part, while the frame and backsheet and all other materials are the work as a insulation. So there should not be any direct contact between frame and live part. To check this, we apply the high voltage, and as per the standard procedure, and if it withstand, then the module pass for the insulation test. So each and every module is tested on the manufacturing line. Then this is a IV curve or power measurement. Again, at the end of the manufacturing, each module is to be tested for power measurement. So whether it is giving the power output as per the requirement or not. So the IV characteristic is a current voltage characteristic of the module. It shows the relationship between the voltage and current, and from zero voltage to the open circuit voltage, that we call VOC, and from current 0 to short circuit current, that is ISC. So we will show later in further test methods. This is the electroluminescence test. So this we call it in a short form as a EL test. So this EL test is nothing but like a X-ray of the module. So this test is carried out with the application of the voltage to the DC terminal. So when module manufacture and come out from the manufacturing line, the DC voltage is applied to the terminal of the module. So due to application of the voltage, the electron movements or flow of the current will happen between the cells or throughout entire cell assembly. So these EL cameras, these are the special cameras which take the image of the electron movements. So when electron moves freely in entire 72 cells, the image will show the entire image will be bright. But any damages or any micro cracks on the cell, there will be the restriction of the flow of the electrons. So whenever the electron flow will restrict, the particular that area will come out in the image as a dark area. So here in this image, you can see many dark areas. These all dark areas are the non-generating areas. Means in that particular area, there is no generation because of the damage of the cell, micro cracks, or some impurities in the cells. So this EL test detect the electrical damages, means electrical path restriction due to the mechanical damages of the cell. So each and every module is also need to be tested at the end of the manufacturing cycle. After this testing, the modules are packed in the box. Normally, 28 to 30 modules are kept in a single pallet in such a manner that it is to be placed in a vertical only. You cannot pack in a horizontal condition because the modules create the impacts on each other, and bottom modules face the maximum load. To avoid any such type of damage, the modules are placed in a vertical condition. And here also the need care to be taken for any mechanical jerks or impact on the module to avoid any development of the micro cracks or damages to the cell. Again, this is a IV curve characteristic equipment. Here, again, the modules are tested for the power output or IV characteristic. This characteristic is to be tested at a standard test condition, STC. STC means standard test condition. So what is standard test condition? The temperature of the module should be 25 degree. The humidity inside the equipment should be 85%, and the light irradiation applied should be 1000 watt per meter square. This is the standard test condition as per IEC. So each and every module is tested on this STC only. Otherwise, you cannot compare two different module output if tested in a different test condition or with a different irradiation. This is the IV characteristic. Here, this is a voltage current relationship, and we can see the graph when voltage is increasing, current is also increases, and at the UMPP means maximum power point, the voltage is current is maximum. Above this voltage, the current is further decreasing, and at the open circuit voltage, the current is 0. Similarly, you go to the y-axis, the current is increasing with the voltage, but at the particular stage, the current is no further increase, and at UMPP, the whatever current measure, it is the IMPP, that is the maximum power point, and under this area, it is a fill factor. So to compare the module performance, these are the important factors, that is UMPP, IMPP, fill factors, and short circuit current is that if we short both the terminal, positive with negative, the current is the maximum at that point. So that is the short circuit current. So these parameters are measured at the end of the manufacturing for each module, and even for all further testing, performance testing, or reliability testing, or design qualification, this VI characteristic is the standard test procedure, and it is used to check the performance of the module as well as the design certification or the field performance of the module. There are some reliability tests. Reliability test is performed on a sample of the module, not all modules. So the out of the some manufactured lot, samples are being taken for the reliability test. So here some tests are mentioned. This is a weight leakage test. As we see earlier, the module is um, means IP68. Means if it is merged in the submerged in the water, there should not be any damage to the insulation. So to check this, the module is placed in a water tank, and the high voltage is applied for a period, and the IR value before and after is to be measured to confirm that the module is uh, confirming the IP68, or there is no any leakage of water inside the module. Thermography test is also checked, need to be tested for the hotspot. So any hotspot inside the module can be checked only by applying the full load to the module, and in full load condition, there should not be any hotspot creation inside the electric in the module, means at the interconnections of the cells or inside the cell. So in that applied load condition, thermography is to be done, and temperature to be checked whether any hotspots are there or not. Then mechanical load test. Mechanical load test is again to check the mechanical strength of the module. So there is a standard test procedure in mentioned in the IEC. So the dead load is to be applied on the module for a particular period. If during that condition there should not be any major damage to the module, and before and after, the power again is to be checked, and it should not be the power should not be degraded more than 5% after the and before. These are the test chambers. So here some reliability test is being performed. The PID test chamber. PID is a full form of the PID is potential induced degradation. So there are possibility of the degradation of the module in future due to the either potential or due to the light. So potential means the voltage. Inside the module there is a live part, and due to this live part, the degradation of insulation can be happen, or any environmental condition. Suppose by outside the environment there is a heavy moisture in the atmosphere, or high temperature is there. In that condition, the joint of the frames get some bypass condition, and in that condition some moisture get ingress inside the module. So in that condition, the due to the moisture and potential, there is a possibility of the degradation of the insulation, and periodically the module get degraded. To check this degradation, the modules are placed inside the chamber with the applied voltage as per the IEC requirement, and inside the chamber there is a high temperature and high humidity, means 85 humidity and 85 degree temperature is maintained inside the chamber, and the modules are placed for a long duration, that is for 96 hours or some long duration also. There are different test conditions mentioned in the IEC. Accordingly, the modules are placed inside the chamber to check the potential induced degradation. And after this 96 hours, module are taken out from the chamber, then again power is to be checked. And as per the IEC requirement, it should meet the power output. So there should not be degradation of the power more than 5%. This is the IEC requirement. Similarly, LID test is also being performed inside the chamber. The LID is a light induced degradation. So cells are also degraded due to the sunlight. When it is the module is facing the sunlight continuously, so gradually the cells degraded due to the light. So to check the degradation, the modules are placed inside the chamber with the light such that the power generated by the module should be 60 watt hour. And once it generates the 60 watt hours, the modules get taken outside from the chamber, and again the degradation of the module is to be checked, and also again it should not be more than the 2%. Normally, module initially when placed in the service in the field, the first year the maximum degradation is due to light degradation. First year module degraded normally 2.5% degradation is a standard degradation. Out of that, 1.5% degradation is due to only light induced degradation, and 1% is due to PID. And gradually the light induced degradation is reduced, then no further light induced degradation in the coming years. Then later on only potential induced degradation is happening. And normally the rate of the degradation is 0.7% per year up to 25 years. These are the again the thermal cycling test, light soaking test. These are the certification tests. So when the module is to be certified as per the IEC requirement, the long duration test need to be performed on the module. So majority the test of the modules is environmental test only, because the module has to face the environment. Electrical tests are only the power measurement, and whatever the power degradation happened due to the environment, that we need to the check. So all we test here, we see that is due to the we check the degradation due to the environment. So here in this picture, we can see the environmental stresses. Direct UV means ultraviolet also degrade the module. Then thermal, the high temperature is also one of the parameter for the module degradation. Mechanical load is any mechanical impact. In some of the area there is a heavy snowfall or means impact of the snow on the module. So that is also the environmental impact. Then mechanical abrasion, backside on the backside there is a possibility of the abrasion due to the high wind condition or some high storm condition, windstorm condition. The abrasion on the back sheet is possible. Then transmitted and reflected UVs, ultraviolet rays, then moisture. The moisture is the major factor for the degradation of the module, and atmospheric chemicals. If there is a very polluted atmosphere, then the degradation rate is high. So basic understanding of the IC standard test for the photovoltaic panels. So IC 61215 is a design qualification and type approval. So the module should be confirmed all the IC 61215 for the design qualification. So all these parameters we earlier see that PID, LID, and many other performance tests are mentioned in this IS, and all environmental tests are after the test, the module should confirm the IEC requirement. Then IEC 61730 is a safety qualification for module. So the environment means the safety standard also the module should confirm as per this IEC. Then salt mist tests, IEC 61701. The frame is a aluminum formed from aluminum material. So it should be tested for this salt mist test. Otherwise, the corrosion is possible on the aluminum frame. So this IEC describe the salt mist test, and the module should confirm this IEC requirement. Similarly, ammonia corrosion resistance test is as per IEC 62716. Again, it is a corrosion test. The corrosion can be happen to the aluminum frame, glass also, and backsheet. So these all test requirement as per 62716 should confirm by the module. And IEC 62804. It is a special IEC for the PID test. What we earlier discussed, the potential induced degradation. So for this test, the separate IEC is there. So why do we need the IEC test? So to evaluate long-term performance outdoor, we really need outdoor performance data. On the other hand, we can not wait 25 years to determine if a module is going to have a 25 years lifetime. We know that solar modules, majority modules we at present in the field are having not life more than 5 years. Before that, no major solar modules are manufactured and installed in the field. And in this condition, we have no any past data of the performance of the module for how long it performs and what will be the performance after the specific years or 25 years. So to know the module performance, what will be the performance after 25 years, we have to decide some test criteria so that we can, from that test performance, we can evaluate the performance of the module, that how it will perform after 25 years. So to evaluate the performance for a long life cycle, the IEC has work out the test and test criteria, so that we can assure that okay, if this module pass this criteria, then we can assure that okay, the module will perform at the after 25 years with the certain degradation. At present, module manufacturer gives guarantees of the module degradation after 25 years is about 18% degradation. Means after 25 years, module will generate the power of at least 82% of the rating of the module. Means at present, whatever module rating is for the new manufactured module, the same module will give the power output of 82% after 25 years. So to assure whether this guarantee will, as per this guarantee, the module will perform or not, this qualification is necessary. And this test condition is created with the accelerated stress condition. Means the test conditions are created such that the environment is created with the accelerated stresses. So in accelerated stresses, what degradation we observe, accordingly we evaluate the performance. And also the field failure also is to be considered to make the or upgrade this test criteria. So these are the different type of tests we perform for during the qualification. Uh, Diagnostic testing, electrical testing, then performance parameters, thermal parameters, irradiance, environmental, mechanical, light shocking is especially for thin film, and safety factors. In this, all IEC mentioned earlier, these all aspects are covered. So in diagnostic, visual inspection and hotspot, we can directly check whether any hotspot or visual defects are there or not. Electrical, we test for insulation resistance, weight leakage current, and for performance, we measure the VI characteristic at STC, temperature coefficient, NOCT, means normal operating cell temperature. That should be also in a within limit. Then Pmax at low irradiation, means in low irradiation condition, what is the maximum power output? These are all the performance tests. And the thermal tests are the bypass diode test and hotspot test. Irradiation is the outdoor exposure, UV exposure, light shocking. So these are to confirm the LID, light induced degradation. And other environmental condition, temperature cycles, humidity, freeze, damp heat, these are all are the environmental test condition. Mechanical load test we already earlier discussed to determine the robustness of the module as well as the terminations, and the hail impact test. So these all are the mechanical testing. Then for safety, the electrical hazard test, ground continuity, sustainability, and these all are the safety test requirements. So for IC certification, there is a standard test cycle specified in the IEC. So when the first module is designed and manufactured, before going for mass production, the certification is required to be get by the manufacturer as per the IEC test procedure. So here is the test diagram. So how the module is to be tested for the certification. So one module is tested for performance characteristics, that is NOCT, temperature coefficient at STC, and for low irradiation. These are the performance tests. Then again, outdoor exposure test, bypass diode test. Another module is tested for UV precondition, then thermal cycling. The thermal cycling is a cycle also specified in the IEC for the different temperature cycle from minus 40 degrees centigrade to 85 degrees centigrade. Humidity freeze cycle, that is again the module is to be placed in a chamber with the humidity and duration specified in the IC. And the robustness of the termination. So after each cycle, the module performance again is to be checked. The module degradation is to be measured, and each module is to be tested for IV characteristic before and after each test cycle. So whatever the degradation before and after, should be within the standard requirement. Then 200 thermal cycles with that is also we can say for the PID. Then 1000 hours of the damp heat cycle. So damp heat cycle is again 85-degree temperature, 85-degree humidity. The module is to be kept for 1000 hours. And after that, again, weight leakage test is to be performed on that same module. And after weight leakage, the module is tested for mechanical load test and hail test. All this, after completion of this test, again the module is tested for the power or IV characteristics, and it should meet the requirement as per the IEC. Only after the module get the IEC certification. So IEC certification is nothing but a design qualification or a type test completion. And type test is a test to confirm the design of the module. Then these IEC are for the salt mist test, then ammonia corrosion test. These are the IEC applied for the environmental testing. Then IEC for PID test also we already discussed earlier. So these are the all different test condition described as per the particular IEC, and accordingly the tests are to be performed. Thank you all. Hope this slide will gain your knowledge. And I hope that I am successful to convey the knowledge sharing successfully.
Yes.
Now, if any question from the students or faculties, we can.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Joshi sir, for your best knowledge sharing to us. And I am also thankful to all our students to join this knowledge sharing program, as well as our faculties. Our faculty also, I am thanking to you to spend your time for this session. And I am also thankful to Mr. Neeraj Tiwari, who just left now. He is a Torrent Power of Executive Engineer at Ahmedabad, and Mr. Nikhil Shah, General Manager of Torrent Power Meter Testing Lab. He was also joining us for this session. I am also thankful to them. Any of our students want to ask some question related to testing and all, you can ask to Joshi sir and get answer from him. Sorry. કુલદીપ ભાઈ કઈ પૂછવું છે? કુલદીપ, રોહનભાઈ, વિપુલ, ભાર્ગવ, અર્પિતભાઈ, બીજા કોઈ ક્વેશ્ચન્સ છે સાહેબને? આમ તો આમાં આપણને ઘણું બધું જે આઈસી ટેસ્ટ જનરલી આપણે જે થિયરેટિકલ વિચારતા હતા કે ભાઈ આટલા બધા આઈસી આવે છે અથવા તો આઈસી કોડ હોય છે, એનું સરે આપણને ડિટેલિંગમાં કે ભાઈ પર્ટિક્યુલર આઈસી કોડ શેના માટેનો છે એનું એક બહુ સારું મારી દ્રષ્ટિએ નોલેજ આપ્યું છે. બરાબર ને રોહનભાઈ, તમારું શું કહેવું છે?
યસ સર.
હા, અને બીજા અમુક ટેસ્ટ રિલેટેડ છે, જંકશન બોક્સ અને એની ટેસ્ટિંગ મેથડ, એનો આખો જે ફ્લો ચાર્ટ બતાવ્યો છે એ જો સપોઝ આપણે મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગ એન્ડ ઉપર ક્યાંય આગળ કામ કરવાનું થાય તમારે તો એ આપણને બહુ બેનિફિટેડ રહેશે. બરાબર ને?
અહીંયા છે ને આપણે ક્વોલિટી રિક્વાયરમેન્ટ આમાં કવર નથી કરી, કારણ કે એ અગેન ઇટ ઇઝ અ બિગ સબ્જેક્ટ. કોઈ પણ આઇટમ જ્યારે મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગમાં હોય તો એની ક્વોલિટીના ઘણા ફેક્ટર્સ હોય, from raw material quality to in-process quality to the final inspection and testing. તો જો આપણે ક્વોલિટી એશ્યોરન્સ પાર્ટ કવર્ડ મતલબ ડિસ્કસ કરવો હોય તો each and every raw material have a many quality test requirements. અથવા તો એની દરેકની કેરેક્ટરિસ્ટિક્સ હોય, ગ્લાસ હોય તો ગ્લાસ, સેલ, એવી દરેકને ક્વોલિટી કેરેક્ટરિસ્ટિક આપણે ટેસ્ટ કરવી પડે અને એ ટેસ્ટ પણ અમુક ક્વોલિટી રિક્વાયરમેન્ટ કન્ફર્મ કરવા જોઈએ, તો જ એ રો મટીરિયલ ક્વોલિટી કન્ફર્મ કરે અને પછી એ મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગમાં જાય. મેન્યુફેક્ચરિંગના દરેક ઓપરેશનમાં પણ ઓપરેશન પછી એની ક્વોલિટી ચેક થવી જોઈએ. સપોઝ ફોર એક્ઝામ્પલ, આ મોડ્યુલમાં સોલ્ડરિંગ એક ઓપરેશન છે, તો સોલ્ડરિંગ બરોબર થયું કે નહીં એ દરેક એના ઓપરેશન પછી એનો ટેસ્ટ થવો જોઈએ. એવી રીતે એના ડિફરન્ટ સ્ટેજમાં બધા ક્વોલિટી ટેસ્ટ એમાં ઇન્વોલ્વ હોય છે. પછી જ્યારે કમ્પ્લીટ મોડ્યુલ એસેમ્બલ થઈને આવે ત્યારે એના ટેસ્ટ હોય છે. એ બધા આમાં આપણે કવર્ડ નથી કર્યા. એ અગેન બિગ સબ્જેક્ટ, એટલે એ પછી કોઈ વખત મોકો મળશે તો એ આપણે અલગથી ડિસ્કસ કરી શકીએ.
હા સર, થેન્ક યુ વેરી મચ સર. અને અમારા એચઓડી સાહેબ બી છે, 1 મિનિટ હું એમને આપું છું, એ બી આપણે થેન્ક્સ કહે છે. 1 જ મિનિટ.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joshi sir, for your session.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joshi sir, for your session and sharing your knowledge regarding solar EV cell and testing of solar EV cell. And thank you very much, sir.
Yeah.
Myself, Anand Acharya.
I thank you and Nirav also to give me this opportunity to share the knowledge with all students. I am very much happy to share my knowledge.
Okay. Our first approach regarding this course, and first time we starting with affiliation with Gujarat Technological University and one section of Gujarat Technological University, Center of Continuity Education, and we starting the course of various practical study of various solar system and electrical vehicle technologies. And this session is considered one of the session in this course. And thank you, sir, for your session.
Okay, thanks all.
હા સર, હલો.
Yeah.
હા, ફર્ધર જે ક્વોલિટી અધર ટેસ્ટ પોઈન્ટનું ને એનું જે વાત કરો છો, જો એ પોસિબલ થશે 30મી સપ્ટેમ્બર પહેલાં, તો વી વિલ અરેન્જ ઇટ. એન્ડ થેન્ક્સ ફોર ધીસ ફ્રૂટફુલ ઇન્ફોર્મેટિવ સેશન. અને આજનું સેશન અહીંયા કમ્પ્લીટ કરીએ છીએ, બરાબર?
Okay.
ઓકે, થેન્ક યુ જોશી સર. થેન્ક યુ ઓલ ઓફ યુ.
Thank you.
થેન્ક યુ સર.